everybody, this is Sherry with CPR, Craft, Pray, Repeat, and I'm here today with my first video for CottageCutz, and I'm featuring their egg painting bunny, and that's him right there. I'm going to show you all the dies that I used first, and I just used the bunny from that one. Then I switched to Spring Meadow, and I used a lot on this one. I used both different lengths of grass, the butterflies, and some of the flowers. They have like 3 different sizes on there, which is really nice. And then I go to the Stitch Sun, Clouds, and Umbrella, and I use the smallest cloud. And this is the only one that is not in the new release, and it's called Hello Spring, and I just used the little chick on that one. So what I've done is I've cut my pieces out, and I'm starting by shading them in with the pan pastels. For the darker gray, I just use a black, and that's what it's called, black pan pastel. And I go all around the edges, and then I also put in some accents where the little bunny's ear is tipped over. And I just occasionally, if I think I got too much or if it's getting too dusty, because it does make a lot of dust, I just wipe it off with my paper towel. And I'm going in here and I'm finishing up his little feet, and then we'll move on to the lighter gray pieces of the bunny, which the picture on the bunny is brown, but for some reason I wanted a gray bunny, so gray is what I went with. And I just go with, it's called neutral gray tint. And I could have went, and I probably should have went with the neutral gray, and I will probably do that the next time because I will be using this bunny again. He's adorable. And so I could have made it a little bit darker, but because this was my first time using the grays, I was a little nervous. And so I'm just trimming down my panel to the size that I think I'm going to need it. I use a cloud stencil and some broken china distress ink, and I just go in and start my cloud background. And I think I'm finished, and then I realize that I need the blue to go all the way to the bottom of the panel. So I just come back in without any stencil, and I will, just ink over that little part at the bottom, because I realized that I could still see it through the blades of grass. I didn't go low enough. So just a real quick swipe with my blending tool, and I'm ready. I use my favorite art glitter glue to put my pieces together. I have never had any trouble with any of my pieces when I use this glue. I love this glue. So now I'm trying to work on my design here, and I realize that my panel's too big. I need to cut it a little shorter, so I end up going with 2 7/8 by 4 7/8, and that's when I cut down. I end up cutting down the bottom a little bit too, so I have exactly the size that I need. And I love that there are 2 different lengths in the grass, so that I could do 2 different colors, which I also inked up with distress inks. But it just, being able to use the 2 different colors of grass gives you a lot of dimension that you can't get with just a plain old regular grass dye. So I really liked it, and that's the main reason that I picked that dye, was because I knew there were little pieces in there that I would be able to use. And so I use the Hello Spring for my little chick, put him together and slip him in the grass. And then I get the butterflies from the Spring Meadow, and I just use one of my souffle pens to do the body of the butterfly so it was a different color, and glue them all down. And it gives it, the souffle pen gives it a little dimension, not a lot, just enough to, I guess, kind of make it separate from the wings. I like that a lot. I think it just really adds a lot to your cards. And use my black glaze pen for the little chick's eye. And now I'm just going to take some flowers from that Spring Meadow die and go in and just put them in random places. I did a pink and a purple that matched the butterflies. And this card went together so fast, and it was so much fun. You guys know how much I love CottageCutz dies. I could spend all day playing with them. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my stitch clouds in. And I do hang them over the edge, and I go back later and I trim them off because, you know, I don't want them hanging over the edge of my panel. And I just go back in with my Broken China Distress ink and go over where like I trimmed it off so it wasn't just plain white there. But you know, I didn't do anything fancy to it. But I absolutely love how it's turning out. I used one of my punches so that I could decorate the inside of the card. You know, nothing fancy. You can do whatever you have will work. And I trimmed the front panel down a little bit because I wanted to be able to see the inside of the card, and I left that panel larger than I needed because I wasn't sure how much the punch would take off. So I'm just putting some glue down on it, making sure I get the edges real good, and putting that panel on, and you'll be able to see that little bit of detail on the front when the card is closed. And then of course, I never put anything on straight. Heaven forbid I do it straight the first time. I think my eyes are cross-eyed, and that's it's like it looks straight at one point and it's not. And I just glue on my front panel, and that is it, guys. I had so much fun. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Remember to practice your CPR, craft, pray, repeat. Thanks for visiting me today, and I love you all. Bye.